Today, January 19th of 2025 at 12:26 p.m. when we're recording this. TikTok is officially banned in the United States and parts of Canada. We're going to talk about that and how it impacts the music business and the music industry as a whole, and content creators and entrepreneurs. Over 170 million people in the United States use TikTok, with over 7 million businesses. So we got to talk about that impact and more on this episode. Make sure you guys are staying tuned. We're going to get into it right now.
Arkatech Beatz.
What's up, everybody? It's your main people, Arkatech Beatz, platinum producers, and you're welcome to the Arkatech Beatz Music Business Podcast. I'm Juggernaut.
I am Mike Trauma D.
And together we made this super duper production group, Arkatech Beatz. If it's your first time here, make sure that you're putting the commenting and subscribing button. I'm talking real crazy right now. I'm excited because of this damn TikTok ban. It's driving me crazy right now. But if it's your first time here, make sure that you're subscribing to the channel. Make sure you're commenting, etc. We want to do a little housekeeping. Every episode of the Arkatech Beatz Music Business Podcast is brought to you by our books to learn the music business so that you can navigate this crazy industry. Check the links in the bio to make sure to get save 10% off. But listen, we got to get right into it. As of late last night, about like 10:30 Eastern Standard Time, the pop-up came up on my TikTok. I'm on TikTok, and that just like app is no longer available in the United States, and they're working with President-elect Trump to get this thing squared away. So I'm like, damn, this is terrible, Then I go on X, of course, but X is different, looking on X, seeing what's going on. Then I go on Instagram. People is going crazy on Instagram. But Instagram ain't TikTok. It's not the same, you know what I'm saying? Like it don't hit like how TikTok hits. But I wanted us to talk about the ban. What does it mean for the industry? What does it mean for content creators and entrepreneurs? What does it mean on the political front? Because someone is going to have to pay for this politically, right? So that's like a whole nother conversation. But I don't think people thought it was going to happen. I don't think people thought it was real. And now you got that gone. CapCut is gone. Can't use CapCut either because it's connected to TikTok, because TikTok owns CapCut and ByteDance. It's crazy right now.
Wow. Like, what happens now, man? It's like this thing is gone, and like, what happens now? Like, if and we've been telling you for a long time. We've been telling the guys we've been telling our viewers a very long time to make sure that you have something else going on. Have your own website, have the information to your consumers, have all of those things on file, because at any given time a platform can disappear. And then what happens? Hopefully, all these businesses that had their livelihood through there, hopefully they have Instagram accounts and Facebook accounts and YouTube accounts, and they got their website going. Hopefully they have all of these things already up and running so they can retain their consumer base. Because if you were relying solely on TikTok alone, you're dead in the water right now.
TikTok is feeling like MySpace right now, son. And and that's really like the thing that's driving me crazy. I'm like, I did not think they were going to do it. I thought that maybe the smart thing would have been Biden should have come in and said, hey, I'm going to issue the statement through the Department of Justice to let, all of the service providers know that we're not going to fine them. Because for what I'm understanding is that if say the Apple Store and everything kept it up, and all of the service kept it up in the United States, that they would be like up for fines of upward like $1 billion a day type thing. You know what I mean? So nobody wanted to take the chance. So a lot of people just said that if they don't get anything concrete from the White House saying that they won't come after them or they won't enforce the ban from the Department of Justice and won't find anybody, then they probably would have kept everything going. But because they didn't feel confident that they weren't going to be fine, they didn't want to take the chance, so they decided to shut it down.
But I also saw something from ByteDance. They're saying that they're not even going to wait for
Yeah, 12
um
o'clock.
12
Yeah,
o'clock. They're not going to wait. They're not going to wait for the rug to get pulled from under. They're going to leave on their own
yeah.
course, you know. So they're going to shut themselves down. Like, we're not waiting for y'all to shut us down. We're going to do it on our own terms. And they shut down before the time. It's hey, you know what's funny?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
You
Cause
know
go ahead.
what's funny is the generational gap. Because if you grew up without internet in the beginning days, if you grew up without the social media, you're kind of like, like
That's not
life
right
goes
though.
on.
Because see, it's not just that. Remember what this thing has built from the pandemic. It has built a community kind of feel because of the
Right,
pandemic. You know what I'm saying?
right,
And then the other thing was it started to generate income for people. People were
right.
making their money, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of people who got
People
forced
left
out
their
of
people
got
left their
forced
jobs.
right. People who got forced out of work because of the mandates in
Right,
COVID. People don't remember
right.
that, right? People said so.
Mm-hmm.
The same administration that forced the mandates, and people now said, "All right, I'm not going back to the office." It's the same administration now that forced the ban. It's like
Mm.
so folks have to start. Folks got to put it together and start saying, "Oh, they trying to really get y'all to go back to work." Like that. That's really what it really. That's what it looks like.
It's another that's another part of it.
So they're like, "Oh no, y'all can't sit home and make money on no content creation." That's a dub. They ain't doing that.
Mm.
Not in the United States. You got to go back to work.
Mm.
That's what they want. And then also, um, look at the transfer of information. Remember what happened was that because of TikTok, people started watching the news. They said basically the news is at the lowest, legacy media is at the lowest viewership ever. We're talking about like 50,000 views, 70,000 views. Like they're not getting any viewership.
Yeah, but
So
that's their own fault too, because you got to think about the news was kind of just it was it's almost like a show
yeah,
where it's programmed, it's scripted, it's written, it's programmed, the shots are taken from a certain angle, this, that, and the third, and you're kind of force fed that one piece of information from that one angle, that one point of view. But when you got social media, you were seeing things from different angles, different perspectives. You were
yeah,
getting the behind the scenes. You were getting, the other part of the story. You were getting so many things that now you can sit back, collect all of that information, and make your own decision on what is true, what is not true, or what is your take on it.
yeah.
And you didn't have that before.
It's killing folks now not to have it. But we've been saying it, like you said earlier, for the past 2 years that you have to have your own ecosystem. We've been saying that your time on any social media platform is basically rented time. Like you have to
Yeah.
understand that it's rented time, and you say, well, what does that mean? Meaning it's rented until the platform is no longer popular. Number one.
Hmm.
Number two, they changed the payout structures for monetization, right?
Hmm.
Kind of like how Instagram had the bonuses going for a long time and then took them away, right?
Hmm.
So like
Or they
things,
decide to sell it,
right?
and then whoever buys it decides to change up the whole direction of the platform.
Like Twitter, right?
Hmm.
So again, like you have all of these different variables that are going to impact you and your business slash livelihood slash um, creativity, creations, entrepreneurship. Like people have to pay attention to these things that are going to be moving parts at all times, and you have to try to be able to control as much of the chessboard as you can possibly control. And the only way that you can do that is by having your own website, your own place where you do your own business, where whether if social media is here or not, you have your own ecosystem.
Jug, let me ask this question, because this is the music business podcast. What happens to the music producers, the artists that had their music going through TikTok or being discovered on TikTok. You know, what was being generated uh, from TikTok, you know, to the label, you know, the royalties and all of those things, the streaming, like there's going to be a big cut. You know, there's a big loss.
Look, no one talks about that. See, all people talk about is the small businesses that are basically driving traffic to their business through TikTok, right? Using TikTok as an advertising medium or using TikTok Shop, right?
Right.
Yeah, so that's like physical products, etc. You know, things like that. But no one's talking about, like you said, the music industry and how it was a platform for discovery for music, and how it's a platform for consumption of music through sounds, etc., being linked to different streaming platforms, etc. People are not looking at it like that. So while you may be thinking it's 7 million business owners, small business owners, if you add musicians, songwriters, producers into that's going to probably triple, right? So we're looking at billions and billions and billions of dollars that can get lost if this thing doesn't get reversed come Tuesday, right? Because the inauguration is tomorrow. On day one, your man said he's going to sign 100 executive orders. We don't know if he can sign an executive order to reverse this because it is law. As of Friday, the Supreme Court unanimously said that it stands, that it's not a First Amendment issue, 9-0. So because it went through Congress the appropriate way, it really created a lot of issues for this. But again, they never thought about the business aspect of it because they just kept saying that it was a security threat. But as we start to listen to the language of certain congressmen, they said basically they felt that the app was being used for propaganda. So what we look at as news and information, Congress was looking at it as propaganda, but it's not necessarily. It's not the propaganda that they want. Let's put it that way.
But it's kind of it kind of impedes on your free speech too, because it's like, who are you to tell me what I can't watch or listen to? You know, who are you to dictate and tell me like I should be able to look and dictate what I want to watch and see and let me make that decision, you know, if these things I believe or whatever the case may be. Like it's crazy. Like it's really, you know, when you think about it, it's so crazy on so many levels. You know, yeah, you know, businesses are going to be hurt. Songwriters and music producers and musicians will be hurt. Then you have, you know, your regular working middle class person who, you know, was forced to leave their job, you know, through the mandates and is making a living. Like it's just it's really messed up across the board. Like that you know they didn't consider, or maybe they did consider all this stuff and just don't care.
They no, I don't think they would consider it because they if see but see what I don't like about it is the timing of it, right? They considered it because look at when they decided to make the ban go into effect the day before the next
The
president
day
takes over,
before,
right?
like really,
Because if what you Congress could have done is Congress could have made this ban effective 2 months ago, right? Because the bill been
yeah.
the bill been
What's the
signed,
rush? What was the
right?
rush?
Look, because they probably the way that they're looking at this, I'm not even sure what their end game was. But the truth of the matter is, if they could have did this 2 months ago, and then what would have happened is that it would have had a direct impact, or they could have made it banned before the election. See, they play games because it was already signed into law. So the ban could have taken place before the election, but they don't want to pay for it through the voting process. You see how they did it? So they did it after the situation because from what it looks like to me, it looked like the current administration thought they were going to win. So they figure they can do that, and then they can decide to reverse it afterward. But look, this thing would cause more inflation if they let it go as it's going to go right now, because now what you've done is you've created a lot of joblessness. Let's just be honest with it. You've stopped a whole bunch of money from moving around. Like all that's going to do is increase inflation. So they have to change it. They have to reverse it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like they have to reverse it. But then the bigger issue now is that you're going to let the coming administration reverse it and take the credit for fixing a problem from the previous administration. So what is that? So what does that set you guys up for the midterms? Like you guys are not really playing really 3D chess here. Y'all guys are playing checkers. You guys are not realizing that if you let the new administration come in and get the credit for it, then people are going to remember that he fixed it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, and if you thought that, and if you were trying to get the younger generation to vote for you before, you're definitely gonna get them to vote for you now.
Yeah,
because you know he's gonna say Biden signed it into law.
Yep.
Period.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, you know, I'm hoping that it gets reversed. But again, what we always been saying and was the right way, which was, hey, generate those email lists. Hey, make sure that you're building your audience across the platforms. We've been saying that from day one. Like whatever I post on TikTok is posted on Twitter, is posted on across all the others. They may not all perform the same, but it's still being posted across platforms. So while you're building your TikTok, you're still building your Twitter, you're still building your YouTube, you're still building Instagram. Yep. So if something goes down, you're not sitting here saying, "Oh my gosh, 100% of my business went down with that."
Right.
You know, and that's crazy, and you can't do that in this day and age because you need every dollar. So, you know, the way things are looking right now, honestly, if I had to really guess, by tomorrow, hopefully by the end of the day, they'll have an extension. From what I understand, the TikTok CEO, along with Meta and everyone else, Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, they're all going to the inauguration. They all get a special guest, Bezos of President Trump.
Wow, man, there's a lot of business people going to be there.
It's changing.
A lot of tech people.
It's changing.
You know,
it's changing. What's happening now, what you're starting to see now, and I don't know if people are ready for it, is I think that you are seeing now the end of the politician in the United States. I think you're going to see more of those type of guys from the private sector that are successful businessmen start to now take the jobs in the places of these guys that are career politicians. I think you're going to start seeing a lot more of that.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see how, you know, how that changes things and what direction we move as a country. But as far as TikTok, if that thing doesn't come back, what are some alternatives? You know, I do.
Okay, so okay. I didn't know we was going to talk about it, but let's talk about it. Right, the big elephant in the room right now. People are going to this app called Red Note. Now that's a true Chinese app. You know what I'm saying? So if Congress was concerned about a security risk before, now you've gotten people to go and download and give their data to a real Chinese app. Okay, just maybe a day or so ago, they made an update so that you can read it in your native language, but it was strictly a Chinese app. All right. So I don't get it, right? So
if that's the issue, why are these, you know, why are these apps even allowed
available in the US?
Right.
Because that's how you know it's not true security. What these guys did not like is that they could not control the narrative on TikTok. They couldn't control it. Remember, they lost it. They lost the control of Twitter, of X, when Elon Musk bought that. So now Elon Musk and them took that, and now that's no longer the arm of the government anymore. Zuckerberg was just on Rogan last week talking about how the administration was twisting his arm to censor speech. So he came out and told the truth and said, hey, they made me do ABC and certain people couldn't say certain things, and that's how it was. So now you got this TikTok that's just going crazy. They couldn't control it. So that's why they said they needed to stop it, because it was radicalizing people. But I think the other issue was, pardon me, and I'm trying to talk carefully about this, is, you had that Middle Eastern conflict, and people were sympathizing too much with a particular side that the other side didn't like.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or the other side was being exposed for being maybe overly aggressive.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? In terms
Mm-hmm.
of their tactics to win the conflict. And people didn't.
It goes back to what I was saying. It was showing, like back in the days, the news would just show you what
One
they want to
thing.
show you from one
Yeah.
point of view.
Yeah.
And then we'll have the whole country sympathizing on one thing.
Yeah.
But then when you have things like TikTok that's showing you
The whole thing.
multiple angles, multiple views, people taking up the cameras and saying, "No, look what's happening live. This is happening
Right.
right now." Now it's allowing us to see things that we didn't see before. Now they can't control it. Now you're sympathizing on a different level. So I get it. you know.
Yeah, the government don't want that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. So at the end of the day, the alternative, some people are going to red note. I wouldn't recommend that, especially if you got a government job. I wouldn't recommend that. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't recommend it. But that's what it is. Other folks are going to fan base.
Mm-hmm.
All right. But the overarching problem that people are having with fan base is it's still not operating at the capacity of the other social media apps.
It has some big shoes to fill.
Right. And if too many people are coming on at one time, it definitely makes it more difficult for it to operate the way that it needs to operate.
Right.
People are looking.
It still has some structural things that need to be
some bugs that need to be worked out on it.
Infrastructure stuff that needs to be improved.
People don't like from TikTok. Now, this is the thing. This is people coming from TikTok don't like that it's so similar to Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the big issue for a lot of people. It's like they don't like that it looks like Instagram, it feels like Instagram, right? And that you can't really curate your feeds the way you want to curate your feeds. There's not a lot of engagement, which is like Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So people don't like that. Then the other one is Clapper, but that's kind of a trash app anyway.
And Triller.
Oh, Triller, I saw now is trying to come back, but I don't know if Triller is going to be able to garner any of the traction that it once had.
I see a lot of people surprised and excited about trying to go back and kind of reclaim that old fame, but we'll see. I mean, I'm sure they have the infrastructure.
Good luck with that, man.
But,
like, good luck with it. Whatever TikTok had it in the chokehold, they ain't gonna hold you.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what I don't know what musicians are gonna look at this and be like, what am I supposed to do with this? Look, we should have still been on YouTube.
I just saw a big ad for Triller with all of these musicians, pumping their fizz, saying that this is, from the French Montanas to
the baby
to everybody. So, they're spending them. They have the money, so they're spending the money to get these guys to kind of influence that this is going to be the next thing. But again, who knows?
And not for nothing, Mike. TikTok kind of made a different type of influencer. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, your celebrity didn't have the same. Your celebrity didn't have the same influence on an app like TikTok.
What you mean?
It's like it was more like you had TikTok people who became influencers, people who were regular people that were becoming influencers. But your standard celebrities just didn't seem to have the overarching influence. If you think about it, even from the election, like, you know what I mean? Everybody was endorsing one side, and it was like people didn't care. You know what I'm saying? And I think TikTok was one of those platforms that kind of changed what celebrity meant to a lot of people. Like, they cared about their celebrity, but they don't care about their celebrity in such a fashion where they can dictate things and trends like they used to. If you notice, you had the rise of the Kai Cenats and the rise of the streamers, and that's typically because of TikTok.
I wonder from a music business perspective, you know, these A&Rs that relied on TikTok and their data to see who may
It's,
be the next person, which is a horrible way to go about, in my opinion,
listen,
looking for your next piece of talent.
even listen between the music that you're talking about being discovered, new talent. But what
Mhm.
about old music? Like what people were doing with stuff that's on TikTok, people were doing edits. People were taking music videos from other songs, mixing them with new songs, and it was reintroducing new music to people or old music to people, or people were taking edits from shows, right? So say for example, like they will put clips of movies or television shows that you may not have watched, but maybe parts of the show. And
Yeah,
that's what was making people find things to watch. That's the way that you were able to promote shows.
right.
Um, so it has a very, very, very large impact on just creativity. Period. If you're talking
And
about
discovery.
movies, film, discovery, like different products, methods of doing things. Like this is what
Yeah,
happened on TikTok. You know what I mean? Like I
yeah.
learned it from TikTok. Remember that used to be the same. So I don't know that these people do not really understand what they've done. And then also what they've also done, Mike, and I'm gonna go a little political on it. I know people may not like it, but I'm gonna go there. But what you've done is you've also shown that Congress did not really care about the will of the people. Right? So here you go now, start to be you're supposed to be the representation for the will of the people, and you guys have vehemently gone against it. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
So so now you guys create the situation like, wait a minute, I thought the people were in charge.
No,
No, no, no. So
no.
what you've also done is now you've awakened sleeping giant again. Because now when you show the people that they're not really in charge and that their voting doesn't really matter, you're going to do whatever you want. Now you create a lot more of this type of situation like will be happening to the United Healthcare CEO, and people have to be careful of that because once these folks start to feel like they don't matter, then
You know,
you're gonna have a lot of those instances where they're going to start to look at the people who are in charge and blame them for what's happening, and then you're going to start seeing these weird type of justice happening that's
right.
really that we're not advocating for, but this is how these things happen, because you guys cannot just deny half of the country something that they want. Like that's just you just can't do it.
They're going to say that the people don't understand and don't know what's good for them. That's what they're gonna say.
Look. What the problem is too, though, Mike, is that, and I realized this too. I thought about it this morning because I was looking at the situation and I started to realize, like, wait a second, the right person wasn't in charge to broker a deal to get ByteDance to divest their Chinese interests.
Yeah,
Does it make sense?
yeah,
The only person that can do that is the person who made the art of the deal, who can say, "Hey, y'all got part of this thing over here in China and ByteDance. We need either a piece of it or we need part of it to be divested. If we wanted to keep going, we'll make a deal that'll work
right.
because it makes too much money for both people." But because you got weak leadership that don't know how to make a deal, this is where we are. You know what I'm saying? So now it's like now we got to wait for homie to come in and clean everything up. And it's just it's a bad situation for I really don't it's the music business and beyond the entertainment, like it's beyond it's it's beyond that. It's so much. It's a huge impact, and a lot of people are upset because my phone was really ringing off this morning. I can't believe they did this. They're mad as hell. They're mad as
Yeah,
hell, and they're mad as hell, and they realize their voice doesn't matter. That's the problem.
and and
It's
and you know what? Also, Joe, all their hard work, you know, from creating your page to putting it together, and the
poof.
hours and hours, or even some money that you've put up to create your own little setup, your studio, your the hours that you put in recording and lighting and getting it right and getting the shot, get the products, doing this, that, and the third, sponsorships, all of the hours down the drain. It's
Yeah,
it's
you
hurtful.
about to see some mad people, bro. I'm trying to
Yeah.
tell you. And look, and they did it, and look how slick they did it. They did it on a Sunday, so you could be home.
Yeah.
So you could be home and make sure that you don't take off of work tomorrow, so you don't go to work upset. You know, people, man, listen here. I,
Did it
I,
did it in front of MLK Day too, man.
oh Jesus Christ!
Gee whiz.
Look. I don't even know what to make of this.
You had a
So
dream.
now we got to wait for tomorrow, and this is gonna feel like the longest 24 hours for a lot of Americans. And people in Canada didn't know they was gonna get impacted by it. They were like, wait a minute, why are we being impacted by it? I guess it's North America. I guess you guys were tied into our service somehow, some way. I guess Canada wasn't separated the way it needed to be.
Speaking of Canada.
Oh, so yeah, that's a good segue. Speaking of Canada, right? We're gonna pivot because earlier this week, Drake switched some things around in terms of his petition. Was it this week or was it last week? It might have been last week. It depends, right? So give or take.
This week,
was this week?
Recently.
So he had the petition against UMG. He dropped that petition, and then he went into a full-fledged defamation lawsuit against UMG. And the whole thing is alleging, basically, the lawsuit is that he was harmed because they distributed and promoted the song that had him basically labeled as a PDF. And there's an argument here that I was watching. I think it might have been on Big Boy Radio. I might have shout out to him, but there was an argument where he was saying, well, for a lot of us who are older, who are into rap battles, he calls them a PDF, and we're just thinking it's just another line to kind of below the belt line to kind of
if you're a real hip hop head that knows
hit him
about
below the belt.
Battles, yeah.
But then the commentators were saying that there's a generation of folks who take that literal, that if they're calling him a PDF, that that's all that they hear is that he's a PDF, and that and they're basically lumping him into that, and they feel that because he's being called that there's evidence of that, and that's what he is. So this is a generational gap thing, and it at this point, if you got people who believe that, right, then the question is, does he have something to stand on in terms of it being defamatory?
Oh my God! So you basically the rap battle now has rules, or is this the death of rap battles? Because look what happens.
I think it is. I think it is the death of the rap battles. I do think so. I think that what happens is that I think for a long time people have been saying that rap battles weren't profitable. Right? And then all of a sudden now this one happens to make money. But previous ones they say not really always profitable. And then the question here is, the one thing that he keeps talking about it, and he named some streamers in the lawsuit, and said that basically that UMG allowed this record for a period of time to be whitelisted for the reaction videos, the feedback videos. Typically, creators who have large platforms don't want their videos to be demonetized because they're using somebody else's copyrighted material. And they said for a while, creators were able to use those videos and make money off those videos prior to them, putting on the copyright claims. But they said the record was whitelisted, which caused it to grow even bigger and go further.
And UMG doesn't do that with any other artists, or they haven't done with any other releases since? It's just that one record?
So what I noticed was, remember when we did the No Face remix? Remember I was telling you that initially wasn't being flagged. Right? Initially,
Right.
like it wasn't being flagged in the beginning. Give or take about a week or so,
Right.
and then it became. Then as it
But
grew, then it
but
got flagged.
I thought that when it comes to like a very new record that's not officially released as of yet, like back in the days, you get a white label,
Right.
and which is like a tester to see how it does organically. There's usually no strings attached to those at the
In the
beginning.
beginning, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm figuring that okay, when that came out, it wasn't official at first, and then once it becomes official, and the record label submits all of the information in order to get it coded and all of those things and content ID, then boom, it kicks in. So did that record pass that? Did that record continue to be whitelisted for weeks and weeks and weeks? That's the question.
I believe that they would have to have evidence to show that. Because
Because
this
if it's
part,
just the first
that's
week, then that's fair game. Because it happens with all whitelist records that come out.
so they're saying that's part of the problem, right? Excuse me. And that's part of the issue. That they feel that they have evidence that it was whitelisted beyond what it would normally
Beyond a
be,
reasonable one.
reasonable time, or whatever that might look like. I guess the question is this for us to ask ourselves: is this a good move or is it a bad move for Drake the artist or Drake the brand or both?
Well, right now, a lot of people, and it's like overwhelming, are very, the respect that he had left is diminishing, I should say. A lot of people are like this is the last straw. Like, come on, like, if anything, you know, you're into the rap battle. In a rap battle, you're gonna say things about each other, true or not, you know, and that's the nature of a rap battle is to insult the other person. You insult the other person, you beat your chest and you make yourself this and that and you talk trash. That is the purpose of a rap battle. That is like if you're a hip hop head, it's kind of it's the cornerstone of one of the cornerstones of hip hop to be able to MC and battle. So when you enter that arena, and the thing is, people are already judging Drake as not being part of the culture. So when you take something like this, a rap battle, and oh, I didn't like what he said, and now I'm gonna quote unquote snitch on you or go to police, is what they're saying, because you said something I didn't like. Now it looks even more crazier for him because you are quote unquote not of this culture. You came into this culture, you studied this culture, and capitalized off this culture, not giving back to this culture, and now you want to insult this culture by doing this. So there's a whole community that feels this way, and they feel insulted. Like, how dare you? You know, you don't know what rap battling is, and you need to actually just you need to leave because you're just doing damage now. Leave us alone. Leave our battling situation alone. If you can't get with it and take your lumps like a man and take your L and walk off and go ahead and you could have easily said, you know what, that was a good so and so, and you could go back to making your records and it would have been so and so. Everybody would have moved on. But the fact that you fighting it and you can't take the L, no matter how you feel, people are like, yo, this ain't it. So
Do you feel that because he's taken on the machine of UMG, right, and exploiting some of the tactics that they use, do you think that's better for the industry or worse for the industry?
I don't think anybody cares.
It's real talk.
especially the most important component of this, which is your fans and consumers. They don't care. They want the music, and they want to look at the artists that they've been rooting for as respectable, because they want to be able to, when you champion an artist, when you root for artists, there's a part of you that feels like I could identify with this artist in some way, or the music that they make, and I could identify with.
Right.
You know, you go in the club, you play the music, you want to be that person for that moment, or you want to feel like that artist is talking about not just himself, but us. I'm in the club too, bagging chicks with the drinks, got the car outside, got the money, this, that. You want to feel like that's your theme music. He's rapping about you. So when you make your consumers feel like snitches, or you make them feel like, not of the culture, and you let them down, you're going to get this backlash. And they're going to walk away from you, as what you're seeing. It's just like the great exodus. Nobody wants to stand next to him.
It's a terrible time, man. You know what I'm saying? It really is. I think that this is a Super Bowl play. And I think you and I talked about that off screen.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's a play to get this record to be temporarily pulled down so that it doesn't get performed on the Super Bowl stage. I think that's the nail in the coffin that we're trying to he's really trying to prevent. So I know it may look real crazy for everybody right now, but I think that he's trying to really do the preemptive situation against the Super Bowl.
For what?
Just doesn't want that song on there, on that platform.
For what? Like like everybody heard it already.
Yeah, but you would make an iconic. Think about that. You would basically you got him in the coffin, but he's still alive. You know what I'm saying? If you take this song and you memorialize it,
yeah,
on a Super Bowl halftime stage for the whole world to watch, you're essentially now burying him. You're burying him alive, and you're dancing on his grave.
Yeah.
So he is very calculated in doing this, which may seem like a bitch move right now, but I think it's the best thing to protect what he built over his 20-year career. Like it and people again, I'm gonna get roasted in the comments. This, I'm good. You're a glazer.
Go for it.
You just love Drake, right? Blah blah blah. I just feel like, and you guys can feel it too, but I know you guys don't want to admit it, right? Music is dry right now. It's dry. It's dry.
Yeah.
It's dry out here, and you guys don't want to give him no credit. And I understand it. You don't like him. But for people like us who've been around this thing for 25 plus years, and we've been in the era where you would have, superstar after superstar dropping every week, right? You'd have, DMX is dropping, Pun is dropping, Jay is dropping, Nas dropping, this one dropping, Nori dropping, like, you know what I mean? Outkast dropping, like you would have Nelly dropping. It was just boom, 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 boom. You would have all of these guys coming out selling big, big units. You don't got that happening right now. Got nothing. Those guys have sucked all the oxygen out the room, right?
Drake had to make a choice.
Yeah.
Either keep it real with, I guess, the culture, or keep it real with his business.
And he got to protect his business because his kid can't eat the culture. And the way that you guys turn your back and so fickle, today you on my side, tomorrow you hate me. Like, why have loyalty to people who don't have loyalty to you? Like, that's how it looks like to me. I ever see people flipping the script on Kendrick a little bit too. Quiet as kept. You know what I'm saying? The people that was loving him, and they're like, wait a second, he not who he say he is. I tell y'all, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not what y'all think it is. So, like, people they flip flop. They build you up just to tear you down. You see this thing, so it's like, if I'm him, I'm like, yo, you got to protect my own interests. Can't have your boy do that Super Bowl with that song. No, can't have him do it. I think it's very strategic with the petition too. The petition was to knock off the sales of the GNX, even though I think it helped it. I don't think the petition stopped it. I think if he didn't drop the petition during the week when it dropped, I think the record wouldn't have sold as much as it even did. I think because he dropped the petition, you got more people to say, "Oh, he's trying to knock off the sales," and they ramped up the promo. I think if he hadn't dropped the petition during that week, I think the record would have did worse.
So do you think the NFL is going to see this suit and say we're not going to get involved in this?
Because why not go after the person that did the record? Why not sue Kendrick Lamar? He wrote it. You dig? He performed it.
Because he's free to do those things. Right? So, he's free to do those things, but I guess
why sue the company for distributing it and for promoting it? Because that's a strategic move. You want to.
Because normally you would sue all parties.
Right. So you want to send a signal that to anybody who wants to take part in the dissemination, distribution, broadcast of this, it's defamatory, and I'm coming. Pause. Right. So
I'm surprised he didn't.
He's putting everybody on notice to let them know, like, listen, you guys gotta walk back this record a little bit. Like, don't think that you're gonna be able to promote this record and we're not gonna come after you.
I'm surprised. Is Spotify in the lawsuit? Is YouTube in the lawsuit? Is all of these streaming companies?
I think remember they said iHeartRadio when it was in the petition, iHeart and Spotify.
But in the defamation one.
No, they're not in the defamation. And the defamation is Aubrey Drake Graham versus UMG. So it's not even his company. Not Frozen Moments, none of that. It's him. So in them. Defamation.
That's interesting. Why is it him and not his company?
Not sure. He said I guess it's personal brand. Yeah. So I guess, but again, I don't know how this thing is going to work because he's employed by Universal, and I'm sure that the law firm, that's representing him, does business with Universal on a large scale. So how they play both sides of the fence. So I think it's gonna be very hard to get a fair shake here.
Right.
Do they settle, or does it go all the way? I think they settle, man.
Yeah, I don't see it going all the way. It settles, but then what are the terms? Now that would be interesting.
I think you're looking to get the record pulled down.
That's it?
I think.
You think that's all he wants?
Yeah, I think he wants the record pulled down.
What happens to his renegotiation? What happens to that?
I think that's dead. I think it's dead, man.
Because so you think he's out of a deal? You think he's out of a deal?
Man, listen, I don't know because look, you see what happens though. You see what happens. Like, there's a clear difference of when these people push the button for you and when they don't push the button. When they push the button for you in the beginning, you're Ice Spice, right? Right? You're Ice Spice with Taylor Swift. Yeah. And then when they stop pushing the button for you, you do 4,800.
You're just Ice.
You just Ice. You ain't Ice Spice no more. And no real disrespect to her because I do like her as an artist. I just feel it's one dimensional, but I like her as an artist. But when they're pushing the button for you, it's like you can't be stopped. And a lot of times people believe that hype is real. not realizing that there's a button that gets pushed for that.
Right, but you don't think Drake is outside of the button being pushed? You don't think Drake is his
I
status?
think he's outside of the button, but he's not outside of the button. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of things for him were amplified because of the button.
Yeah, I mean that's given. Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
but what
And
happens?
then
What happens now? You know, like if he was to, would he lose his deal? You know, like who wouldn't want to go in business with him? He's still a cash cow.
I don't think that Universal should let him go. But the question is, how do you repair this working relationship when
Right.
he feels like he can't trust you?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's the issue. How do you repair it? So Universal might not want to let him go, but they may not have a choice. You know, so I know Sony's waiting, salivating for that.
Yeah.
You know, but they
Because
can't.
because
He got to watch it.
That's all he got. That's all he could go to.
Yeah, and he got to watch out for for Sony because Sony will take you out of that. You gotta, Sony don't play those. Sony don't play them games. Sony and Warner don't play games like that, right?
But Warner's out of the picture because Warner and
Yeah.
Universal is pretty much then is
Warner will be owned by Universal probably
much
in another year or two. You know, give or take. The way I don't even listen. That we just sit by and let it happen. We're just watching it happen in real time. Like saying nobody's saying nothing. They're just like, oh, okay. You guys will see the setup. Okay. I won't talk too much about that because we still need to do something. But I'm just here to watch. I'm here to watch the clown show a little bit, But for everybody that's been watching, we want to tell y'all, thank y'all for watching with us and really rocking with us. I appreciate, we appreciate it that y'all rocking with us and y'all, hopefully you guys are listening to the jewels and hopefully you guys are implementing some of those things and protecting yourself.
I have one more quick thing that I wanted to kind of just quickly bring up. What is your thoughts on this Cam and Jim Jones situation?
How did I forget about that? It's Harlem. It's New York, right? New York. How come we not talking about New York shit? Listen. I vividly remember 50 and Cam going on the radio, going back and forth. Curtis, da 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 da. And then when 50 said, "You not the boss no more," 50, he said something to the effect that Jim Jones is the capo, right? Because Jim Jones had balling going, right?
Right.
And I said to myself, would this fracture the group? Not knowing that they already had an internal issue going on. I said, would this fracture the group? Would he fracture the group? And then he went and did business with 50. So that fractured the group. Like that made it so that where Cam was like, we're cool, but we're no longer cool. Like I think ever since then, they have been cordial and they've been keeping everything, cool, but they never. I don't think I think that looked like as a betrayal to Cam, right? Considering everything. Now he's talking to 50 because he wanted to know the 50. How'd you get him? How'd you get him to jump the ship?
Right.
And 50 said, hey, he's never had the moment. I saw that his ego wanted the moment. He wanted it for himself. So let me try it. So he tried it. But in Jimmy's defense, and listening to Cam's response to everything, Cam solidified what I thought, which was Jimmy's down, but Jimmy's not down. Right? Yeah. Jimmy's down with me as long as he's useful. Now that Jimmy's not really useful to me, he's not really down. He never really was down. Because that's how you start saying, you're not even from Harlem. You didn't grow up with us.
Yeah.
And, using that kind of language. And I'm like, bro, if he been rocking with you since you're 19 to the time you almost 50, he grew up with you. You know what I'm saying? He may not be part of your childhood, but he grew up with you. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Look how much years he put into the situation. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't really like that he used that and tried to say, hey, this guy is not from Harlem when his grandmother lived in Harlem. And, back in those days, kids, kids who were latchkey kids would either stay with their grandparents, you know what I'm saying? So wherever you stayed is where you was from.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I just find it to just be a little bit. So I see that they basically was kind of treating Jimmy like the third wheel.
Mm-hmm.
So then when he started to act like the third wheel and started to take care of his own interests, cats don't like that. And then another part of it that I feel like when Ballin was coming, right? Because Cam was a little bit on the descent, and then Jimmy and then was ascending. So it was kind of, like the hype man now was becoming the man.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if the egos in that camp were able to deal with that.
Egos.
I don't know if
egos
they
will
were
do a lot of things.
I don't know if they were able to deal with that. You my hype man. Nah, he's not a hype man no more. It's Jim Jones now, bro. Sorry. Like, it's Jim Jones right now. I'm watching this stuff right now. And although I may feel that he's a little bit too old to make that music, it sounds good to me. Feels good to me. Even though I may not be necessarily a consumer of it. If it's put together the way it needs to be put together. He's dressed the way he needs to be dressed. The videos looking the way they need to be, the videos looking the way he's rapping the way he needs to rap. Is it the right time for him right now? Maybe, maybe not. But from a music aesthetic, it's like it's doing everything that it's supposed to do, right? And if it was under a different system where someone would press the button, proverbially, it would go. It would go. You know what I'm saying? Or if he wasn't, if it was on a younger age demographic, it would go. Because what's wrong with the videos? Nothing. The video's clean and straight. What's wrong with the drip? Drip is perfect. What's wrong with the song? The Harlem song.
Nothing wrong with it.
Nothing wrong with it. That's what I'm saying. You got drill on. You got a drill on the beat.
I think
it's catchy.
I think maybe because he's the age that he is, maybe people are expecting something a little bit more, I guess, age appropriate or something. I don't know, like more, like, I don't know. You see him there. He got the grays and he got the braids still and on the corner, and it's just like, yo. I guess when you get to a certain age, posting on the corners will look kind of,
So what I start to realize is that he's doing exactly what he's supposed to do, which is he making what the fuck he want to make, right? And if you fuck with it, you fuck with it, and that's it, right? Like, there's no more trying to gain the appeal of the masses. You can't do that
because they always have their opinion anyway.
Yeah, yeah. So you can't do that. So if you want to fuck with Jimmy the way this iteration of Jimmy is now, Vamp Life, all of that, right? The drip, this is if you want to fuck with it, this is what it is. And if he got enough people to fuck with it, he gonna make his living, right?
Yeah.
Lucratively at that too. Right? Because
I just hate that not everyone's childhood, not everyone's, hip hop childhood of the dips is gonna be kind of tainted. The records, because one of the things that hip hop had also brought, which was dope, was groups or duos, coming into this game together and making records together, and that's something that we all like. We respected teams and groups. We respected, the MOPs, the Mob Deeps, the Cash Money Clicks. We that Ray and Ghost, Wu Tang, the Rough Riders, the Locks. Like we like the groups that come out, stick together, and show us that you could stick together and make it. So when you see something like the dips and you see how it falls apart, you're just like damn, we can't have nothing that we can't stick together and this, that, and the third. It's kind of disappointing.
But fill that out though. When you all those people that you name, all of them have had their internal issues,
Yeah.
except for maybe the Locks. The Locks is the only one
Well,
that the Locks is the only one that you don't hear about their internal issues.
right. If they have it, we wouldn't know about it.
Yeah, you don't know about it, right? Now, everybody else, they've all had their ins and outs. Even Mobb Deep, everybody's had their issues. You know what I'm saying? EPMD, who you name it. Like everybody's had their times where they've been fractured, and then they can work it out. But from my vantage point, as I see it though too, is like, yo, if you and Mace, who stopped really messing with each other since Horse and Carriage,
yeah,
right? If you guys could get back on the same page, then then you definitely owe that to Jimmy. Like Jimmy been there. You know what I'm saying? Like Jimmy been there. When Mace wasn't there, Jimmy was there. And a lot of the things that he was talking about with Jimmy, like Jimmy was protecting him or protecting Cam. He's always said that Cam was a person that needed to be protected, and he always said that Mace showed him how to rap. So I just think that what happens in this situation again is just that, it's as if you and I had a protege that got bigger than us.
Mm-hmm.
Protege got bigger. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? We're supposed to be elevating that, and we're supposed to be happy for that success. We can't expect the protege to continue to be the protege. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to be like that forever. It's kind of like with Joe and Khaled. You know what I'm saying? Fat Joe and Khaled are like
even Fresh Montana.
Yeah, can't do that anymore. Like they're the proteges, but they're bigger now. So you have to kind of give them that respect as that and treat them as such. So I just feel like and so I felt like that whole. And listen, man, and I like this iteration of Cam. I really do. I like this iteration of Cam. I can't really say in previous iterations I'm like but me
No,
I
like the Cam and Mace.
I like where they are, right?
That interaction.
Yeah, so I like where they are, and I don't feel like when he says the things that he said, and you're not from this, you're this, that. So now I'm like, damn. Now to me, Jimmy's justified in carrying on the way that he does. Right? Jimmy is justified for trying to do the deal with 50 because you're telling us that he was never really down. You're telling us that. You're basically saying that in so many words.
But is he just saying that to get back at him? Like, is he just rewriting the story and from a different perspective now?
It may be, but I don't know.
Because a lot of times people rewrite history, and based on who's saying it, like we don't know what's the right perspective.
I agree with you on that. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Just the way it looks. And then I heard an interview with Mace after that. I said Mace said reason why he chose to eat the popcorn was because he tried to get everybody together so that they could hash it out.
Yeah.
But they said they said that they were unwilling to hash it out, and he said that basically he had nothing to say. But at the end of the day, it's embarrassing the way that it looks. So even he's admitting that it's not a good look, for that crew and that crew's legacy. But everybody again, this business and the egos is tough.
Yeah. We've seen and been through.
Yeah, it's tough.
And it can really not just hurt your music, it could hurt your whole legacy,
career.
And if one thing I want to take away that I want to say, like in this business, we know that as an artist, you got to be confident in yourself, and you have to, picture yourself as number one and being able to take out anyone. And I know sometimes you need that fuel to make the music you need to make, but at the end of the day, you really have to check your ego walking into those rooms. You need to check your ego when you're doing business and interacting with others to make sure that you're really not overstepping and making some wrong plays and damaging not just the music that you're making or the legacy, but also the relationships, you
Yeah.
know. And we're also seeing things with Dane Dash right now. So, you know, it's
That's just crazy. You know what I'm saying? What's happening with him?
you know,
But again, that's like what we see what's happening with him again is when people don't like what you're doing. So what you see is that concerted effort of people saying, "Hey, you're shut out. You're out, and you're out." And you know, and I think that may be coming from the other side that may be saying, "Hey, if you rock with him, you definitely can't rock with me."
yeah.
You know,
But
yeah,
a lot of that also comes from your behavior and how you treat people and ego. Like there's a lot
yeah,
that goes
it's a
into that.
lot going to that. Yep.
You know, if you do, you know, people want to work with people who they can trust and they feel they can do good business with. You
Yeah.
know, if you're gonna go and have an ego and talk trash and have attitudes and misbehave and carry on and curse it out and all of this stuff, all these theatrics, people ain't gonna want to do business with you. And sooner or later, it's gonna catch up to you. And unfortunately, you know, it happens. It can happen. It happens to the greatest.
Or you got to be really good at what you do, and you have to be good at what you do and self sufficient. If you're good at what you do, but you have to rely on other people, and you treat other people poorly, over time they'll sabotage you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's really what I think happened in his case. I think that maybe people may have been treated the way a little different than he thought he was treating them, and over
Hmm.
time they start to sabotage your business. You know, and then you figure out like you're like what happened, and you're like, oh no, what you've had is you had a coup in your company. You just don't realize it that these people that were supposed to be doing this, that, and the third, they weren't doing it because they did it despite you, and they wanted to see you fail. You know, so the things that
Hmm.
should have really been successful won't be successful because these people ain't going to help you get successful because they don't like what you're doing. So it, there's a lot of that going on. You know, I want the dips to do what the dips need to do to fix what they got to fix. Now,
Hmm.
granted, now we're on the outside. It could all be promo.
Could be. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We're on the outside. It could be promo. You know what I'm saying? I've been watching what Jimmy's doing. I like it. I don't, is it for me? No, but I like it. You know what I'm saying? I don't have an issue with him with him doing what he got to do. I don't want. That's the thing. I don't want our artists to stop making art. You know what I'm saying? Despite the age,
Right.
I don't want you to stop doing it. I don't. And no one should tell you that you should stop doing it and what you should and shouldn't stop doing. You know what I mean? As long as it's not a detriment to the community per se. Which, that's on the fence, whether it's a detriment to the community or not. But
So if you're old with a cane, still rapping
you should
on
do
the
what you gotta
corner,
do. You should do what you gotta do.
go for it.
Go for it. You know what I'm saying? Listen, if your people want to listen to it, because remember, we're all the same age. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of us at our age, all we want to do is still listen to the dips.
Yeah,
We still want to listen to the Locks. We still want to listen to Rick Ross.
that's true.
We want to listen to 50 Cent. That's our
Yep.
age.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we kind of feel that we're robbed of that because we don't have anything to
My
for
my
us.
only my only my only thing is when these artists of our age are coming out with new music, I would like to hear the things that I can relate to at the age I'm where I'm at. Like I think a lot of times, you know, some of these artists are trying to make younger people music, trying to make young content, and it doesn't always fit and it doesn't always work. Like sometimes if you see a 45-year-old artist rapping about something a 15-year-old is dealing with, you're just like that doesn't, unless you're giving them jewels, unless you're giving them information, fine. But if you rapping the same ignorant stuff, it's just like, yo, you didn't grow from that. Like you still Like your consumers are not even on that. Your consumers grew and they're not on that. So why are you still entertaining that?
I think a lot of it is us trying to capture nostalgia.
Well, but it can't be done in a today time.
I think that requires too much skill. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Like I think that requires too much skill to do that. I think it's easier for you to just revert to what you're used to doing. You know what I'm saying? Like so, but I think everything right now is rooted in nostalgia. If you think about it, you know what I mean? So if I can give you that feeling of 2005, you know, that's what I'm gonna try to do. And our brains are like, damn, you can't elevate past that. Yeah, but you got a microcosm of people who want that. You know what I'm saying? You got a bunch of people that still want an Illmatic. You still got a bunch of people that still want a Chronic or a Belford Cuba Links. You know what I'm saying? Like people still want the nostalgia, but then they want to say that, hey, where's the growth? You can't have it both ways.
You can't.
I don't think so. I think only your most skilled can do that. You know, a few others that can really do that. Because remember, what they always did is they always rhymed about current events and things that were happening currently and things that they saw futuristically happening. Like these were different type of artists that were being able to speak to not only today but to speak to the future. You know what I'm saying? So only certain people can really do that. Only certain people have that type of moxie. I think they can really come in and you know that's why I think Drake is kind of like in a lane of his own because he knows how to articulate the feelings of now. Like he knows how to do that. You know, he knows how to articulate what he's feeling in the moment in a particular situation. If people are turning on him, if people are treating him a certain type of way, he knows how to turn that into an articulate, emotional filled song that you can now resonate with. Like, damn, I feel him on that. Like he knows how to do that. And like I said, only your most skilled can do that. Kendrick, J. Cole, and that's why these guys will have long careers because they can do that. They know how to inject now into their music and inject what they're feeling now, the position that they're in, their headspace, how it affected them. You know what I'm saying? Like not
Right,
everybody
right.
can do that. Some people are here to just make the hook in the rap.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm here
You're
to
right.
make the hook.
Okay.
The hook is catchy. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody ain't really trying to be cerebral with that. If you really are talking about this thing in the way that we talk about it, in the way that we consume it, we consume it differently. Like there are so many different ways of doing it. The ones that know how to do that, long careers. Jay-Z can come out and he can talk about so many social issues. Like honestly, his album which should come out now and then talk about everything how this shit impacted his family, right?
Yeah,
And
I would love to
and
to
if
hear.
once it's said and done, right? Once he can kind of get over the hurdle, if he gets over the hurdle, we damn sure want to know what Beyonce or Blue thought when he had to tell him that shit. We want to know how that looked like, like we'll be like, damn, that's fucked up. Like, like if you kind of get to know what he's thinking in real time, what he went through. Right now, we're talking about having a really introspective album that can move people and make people really understand where you're coming from. But not everybody is on that type of musical time.
Be crazy. It'd be crazy to get a record from him. His relationship with Diddy, or like Friends. Just concept of friends and how they move, and they're still your friend, but then they make a mistake or they do something that you're not cool with, and how that like all of those type of what I'm saying, those type of
Yeah.
concept records. That's like your man's is moving another way, but that's your man that you known for 20 years. How, like, do you abandon him? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, those are some records that people of our age will definitely be able to relate to. Like, damn, yeah, for real, because that was my man back in high school and we did everything. But
Yeah.
now I got a family and I'm moving this particular way, but he moving that way. He's still my man. We did so much. What do I do? You know?
Or really talk about what broke up Rockefeller.
That'd
You
be
know
a
what I'm
dope,
saying?
another
That's
dope concept.
my perspective of what broke it up.
Yeah.
What I wanted. my growth. And I know people may say that he's already done it, but he's kind of done it in subliminal. Like,
Yeah.
let's really talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Because I think everybody at our age, especially, go about this thing where you may get into a chamber in your life where you're trying to ascend to something else. And then you're looking around and you're like, well, damn, nobody else wants to come?
Hmm.
Boss, you know what I mean? Nobody else
Yeah.
wants to go where we're going.
Hmm.
No one, so you got a lot of that happens, so. And I think you sent me a clip of what's her name the other day, Clarissa Shields, where she talked about how lonely it is at being at the top
Hmm.
and what it took for her sacrifice, and then the entitlement and the expectations of people around her. You know, from trying to be successful, and even the more that she gave, is the more that they hated her. And that was the thing that she said the most. Like, the more that she gave to people that she loved, the more that they hated her for it. How that work, bro?
Because I guess they feel inferior. They feel like a charity case.
And that's
Their self esteem lowers every time they're given
they got
something.
something right. So that's basically like the bar that or this are the things that we want to hear from our favorite artists. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? The real introspective, the real shit outside of the fame,
Yeah.
the real shit outside of the cause and everything else. Like, that's what
Yeah.
we want to see.
The negative parts or the cons of success that you reach there and now you look over and be like, damn, I'm successful. I've made this, but
But I'm totally isolated.
look at this,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like there's a lot of substance, a lot of things there, but it just takes, the right artist to just put something like that together, put some real thought together. And I think that is what's missing right now. I think that's things we want to hear, you know. Just my 2 cents.
Listen, I totally agree with you, man. Like, I'm not even holding you. Like, I would love to get some real dope music, man, that does push that envelope that way. And that's probably like, that's and where's Cole with that? You know, like, where is he? Like,
The
that's
last
what we,
people, the last people that brought us that was Drake and Kendrick.
that's what I'm saying.
That's it.
That's it.
That had you listening and being like, yo, like
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
putting
where
together
is
the
it?
words and saying things that made you think like, what? Oh, for real?
Yeah, like, so we know what's out here, and um the people are ready for more now. I think there was a time when everyone was kind of asleep,
Hmm.
and they weren't ready for that, or they didn't want bars. They just wanted, the vibe. They want that. I think that time has passed.
Yeah, because some albums recently dropped that people are just like,
That ain't it. But
hmm,
because they've moved on from that, they moved on. You know what I'm saying? But then, kind of back to what you said before, is like, you want to see the elevation, but people are still trying to give you the nostalgia that made them successful. It's like, you have to be able to elevate. And I think what's his name does a very good job of um Kendrick, to his credit, where he may have an album that's introspective, then he may say, okay, I'm gonna do a commercial on this one and then go back.
hmm,
You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like a balance of, I got Good Kid, Master D, and I got the Paper Butterfly. Then I come back, I might have Damn. You know what I'm saying?
hmm,
And they're not the same albums. They do different things. You know what I'm saying? They some are more cerebral than others.
hmm.
And I think you can't have, like they said, protest music all the time. That's the joke.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know what I'm saying? So it was like, Arkatech Beats Music Business Podcast, folks. You know what I'm saying? Just make sure that you're checking us out at www.architectbeats.com. You know what I'm saying? Make sure that y'all are like, commenting, and subscribing. Any parting thoughts for the people before we get out of here?
Oh
Because the
man,
inauguration is tomorrow.
we covered a lot of grounds.
We sure did. Right? And Trump coin is going crazy. No, this is not financial advice, but
Yeah.
it's going crazy. The meme coin of Trump coin right now, which is just wild. But a president with a president-elect with his own meme coin.
Wow, that's
That
like
that
that,
basically this
that's so easy. Like for him to tell the public, hey, I got a meme coin, and to be on the biggest stage in
bro.
the world to promote it.
I seen that thing go from 15 billion in market cap to 50 billion in market cap.
Yep.
It's ridiculous.
I gotta check and see how much.
It's really a stimulus without being a stimulus.
Yeah, I gotta see how much I cashed out a little son.
What people don't really understand, but you got to be in it to win it. While you're sitting around complaining, these guys are turning nothing into billions of dollars. We're supposed we're supposed to be paying attention to how they're able to generate money out of thin air.
Mm-hmm.
It's a meme coin, B. Can you hold it?
I don't care.
Can you use it in the store? I'm just trying to let the people know that it's a meme coin that is now worth $50 billion in market cap.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love it.
Listen, okay, and I think the first set of executive orders are going to take tax off of crypto.
Let's go.
If you take tax off of crypto, what happens? I don't think people are ready for what's really about to happen. If you're positioned as an entrepreneur and a business person, and a person who's really about getting to this chicken, it can change your life. It can change your life.
My parting words will just be: you got to pay attention, man. if anything, you got to pay attention to what is happening and use that information to position yourself properly.
Yep.
Bottom line. We told you about positioning yourself so that if a certain platform goes down, you'll be okay. Now we're telling you things are happening around the world, the economy, this, that, and the third is happening. Position yourself as an entrepreneur that you can make the right decisions when things go into effect or if things get removed. It's pay attention.
That's simple, folks. So until next time, peace, everybody. Be safe. Thanks for watching.